Carlos mentioned how industrialization and economic growth has not benefited indigenous people in Bolivia. What I'm going to say is a bit along the same line, that over the last 25 years or more we have seen tremendous economic growth in the world, but we still have more than 1 billion extremely poor people in the world, absolutely poor. And at the same time we have started the big destruction of our environment, of our climate. So with an unprecedented economic growth, we have not been able to solve the poverty problems, but at the same time the type of growth have been unsustainable in a way which is now threatening the climate at the globe. And I think it's important to remember in these days here that what is happening in the world, the different challenges we are facing, the different crises, we can see that it is interlinked. Each crisis has to do with another crisis. Each challenge has to do with a different challenge. And if we forget that, we'll never be able to solve the problems we are facing. What governments, not always, but often are doing is one day to speak about the climate, another day to speak about the economic problem, and the third day to speak about employment problems without creating the linkages, and that is extremely dangerous. We know that we have a climate problem. All over the world we can see the result of a changing climate, of the climate crisis. So there's no doubt, even though we have had also some skepticism trying to question what is happening. But an important thing to say is that even if there was no climate problem, there was still sufficient reason to change the development we are involved in the world, because even without the climate problem, this economic development would not be sustainable, would not be a development which created progress for the billions of people in the world. Let me just take energy and climate as an example. What we have seen is that the financial crisis has developed as a result of overconsumption, overproduction in an unsustainable way. The economic growth, the overconsumptions lead to a tremendous demand for energy. This demand for energy is now leading to a situation where we are starting to have energy competing with food, because we are starting to need millions of hectares of land to produce what is being called green energy, bioenergy, in areas which could also produce food. When we 2 years ago saw increases in food prices in many parts of the world, prices were doubling, leading to more starvation, leading to more poverty. One of several reasons for these increases was that more and more food is converted into energy. So, meaning that food and petrol is competing on the same fields, and that of course has an impact the whole way around. So increase in consumption leads to increase in energy demand. Increase in energy demand leads to efforts to try to find alternatives. That leads to producing food on soil, producing energy from soils which could produce food, and the result is increasing food prices. We have other kind of growth crises in the world. It's not part of the agenda here on the COP15, but we have about 75 to 80 million more people in the world every year. That's about a growth of 250,000 people every day. These people, most of them or almost all of them, demand very little energy. They are not responsible for the climate crisis we are facing now, but they are in need for food. They are in need for land. So they will also be trying to compete for land together with those producing energy. And the risk is, of course, that we will see more forests being cut, less biodiversity, more starvation. The World Food Programme and the Food Agriculture Organization a few months back told that we have now more than 1 billion people starving, hungry people in the world. That is the highest number we have seen for more than 40 years.